So, good evening. We are back to the study of the Spirit's book. Let me share here. We haven't finished yet this item, which is the influence of the spirits on our the conceived influence of spirits on our daily thoughts, and we're going to. We have three questions still. The idea here is that spirits are present in our lives much more than we actually are aware of, that they are participating in our thoughts, in our minds, much more than we give them credit to. But we are going to start now on question 470, and we go over it after you Philip read. Okay, Philip? You're on mute, Philip.
Sorry. Are spirits who try to lead us to wickedness and who test our resolve assigned a mission to do so? If so, are they responsible for the success of such a mission? No spirit ever receives a mission to do wrong. When they do this, it is of their own volition, and they suffer the consequences of their wrongdoing. God may allow them to stay on their malevolent course to test you, but God does not order them to do so. It is up to you to resist.
So, we normally in Spiritism, we don't use the word mission for wrong actions, for evil actions. So spirits, and again, you receive a mission to do good. You receive you connect with the inferior spirits, or spirits that are vibrating at the lower levels, to cause harm, to cause damage, and that's never a mission. That's you can call it other things, but not a mission. Influences, bad influences, persecutions, and we'll see later as possessions, but not a mission. And again, this is a decision by an individual spirit that uses their free will under their own decision, or influenced by evil spirits, as we see in the book, like Liberation, that you have the leader that is conducting persecutions and using spirits to do the job for him. So the spirits, they choose to act. They are not on a mission in the sense that we talk about mission in Spiritism. Okay. Okay, next, Philip.
When we feel a vague sense of anxiety, indescribable uneasiness, or inner satisfaction without any discernible cause, do these feelings simply result from our physical state? They are almost always an effect of the communication that you unconsciously receive from the spirits around you, or that you have received during sleep.
So these sensations that we cannot describe, the question from Kardec is that these are feelings that are a result of our physical condition, and the spirits say they are almost always an effect of the communications that you unconsciously receive from spirits. So it can be caused by our physical state. So our own thoughts, our own concerns can cause this vague sense of anxiety or uneasiness, but many times it's caused by the influence of lower order spirits that are around us, trying to cause us harm. And also influences that we have during our sleep that we discussed a few chapters ago, when we go to the spiritual world and we encounter spirits from our past that can cause us concerns, worries, and we can bring these sensations with us when we wake up without being able to explain exactly what's going on. Okay. Next.
472. When spirits want to tempt us to do wrong, do they take advantage of the circumstances in which we find ourselves, or can they cause such circumstances? They take advantage of any favorable circumstances, but often bring them about by pushing you toward the target of your unwholesome desires, while you remain completely unaware that this is happening. For instance, imagine individuals who find money on the side of the road during their travels. Spirits have not brought this money to this particular spot, but they may have suggested to those individuals the idea of going towards that direction. When someone finds the money, these same spirits may suggest the idea of keeping it, while others suggest the idea of returning to its rightful owner. This equally applies to all other temptations.
Oh, the idea here is, can those spirits, low order spirits, force us to do the wrong, tempt us to do wrong, or can they cause circumstances for us to be tempted to do wrong? And the answer from the spirits is, basically they take advantage of favorable circumstances, because in the end, when we have these inferior thoughts, inferior tendencies, we place ourselves in a position of these difficult situations that they will force us, try to influence us. So, for instance, if you want to rob a bank, let's say, right? Immediately you attract spirits that will reinforce the idea in your mind for you to act on your impulse. But if you don't have the thought in the first place, and there is not something that you ever entertain, there is no point in those spirits trying to put those ideas in your mind. Is what we talked here about addictions, right? If you never smoke in your life, you can go to a place that everybody's smoking, you are not going to smoke. So, the spirits cannot put ideas in our minds that do not belong to us in the sense of our tendencies. They take the advantage of our inferior tendencies and guide us into the direction of causing harm to ourselves and to others. It's a subtle difference, but it's an important difference. You cannot blame the spirits for your actions, like we see some people that do not have an understanding of their mediumship, and sometimes are influenced by spirits. They hear voices and they act on the voices they are hearing, that they blame the spirits, right? That's not possible, in terms that if you don't do it, the spirits cannot force you. I remember the last week I mentioned the guy that was on trial and was using his whole defense on blaming Trump for him participating in the January 6th insurrection. And I said, he can accuse Trump. He cannot blame Trump. He went there out of his own free will. And that's how the jury decided that he was found guilty because he went by himself. You cannot blame anyone that you want, but you make your own decisions. It's the same thing here with the spirits. They can try to influence your thoughts. They can try to give you ideas, but it will only be ideas that you are already carrying. It will be you act only on your own inferior tendencies as of your free will. Okay. Okay, any questions on the influence of spirits on our thoughts? Because we are now going to a different subject here, possession.
Just a comment. I think it's very important that the spirits in this answer make sure to leave it clear to us that they can, as you said so well, try to manipulate our thoughts, but they cannot act on matter in general and manipulate matter, meaning they don't create the money for someone to find. They didn't force someone to lose money for someone to find. But since the money was lost and was somewhere that the spirits knew, they can manipulate our thoughts to go into the direction of that money, which is completely different. It's exactly what they say, is using the circumstances that already exist and try to benefit from it.
Yeah, well put, Elmo. Yeah, I was talking about it. I forgot about the story of the money that they said here. Yes, absolutely. They can influence someone to they cannot force someone to lose money. They can influence someone to be distracted to the point of losing money. But if you are not distracted, if you take good care of your things, you're not going to get distracted. But if the spirits know that you are kind of a easy prey to distractions and to lose things, then they can help you lose things, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's talk about the possessed. It's an interesting subject. Not many questions here, but a lot to talk about.
473. Can a spirit temporarily assume the body of a living person? Meaning, can it enter an animate body and act in place of the spirit incarnated in it? A spirit does not enter a body the way you enter a house. It integrates itself with an incarnate spirit possessing the same flaws and qualities so that they may act in unison, but it is always the incarnate spirit who acts like he wishes upon the matter enveloping it. No other spirit can replace the one who incarnated in a specific body, because a spirit is inextricably tied to its body until the end of its material life.
Okay, so basic concept of spiritism, right? One spirit connected to one body. It cannot be replaced. If a spirit disconnects from a physical body, the physical body dies. Or the physical body dies and the spirit disconnects. It cannot be replaced. So the question here, if the spirit can temporarily assume the body of a living person and act in a place of the spirit, if it is in the sense of replacing the spirit, meaning the owner of the physical body is going to disconnect from the body for the spirit to take its place, that's impossible. That's against the natural law. Can a spirit associate with another and make this incarnated spirit act on its thoughts and make it do things according to their own thoughts. That's the idea behind the possession. Yes, but it is always the incarnate spirit who acts like he or she wishes upon the matter enveloping it. So the influence can be so strong that the spirit, incarnated spirit, may feel impossible to resist the influence and will act under the influence. But no influence is impossible to resist. May be very difficult, but it's never impossible. So possessed in the sense of replacing a spirit, it's not possible. An incarnated spirit, not possible. Associating with it in terms of acting together, possible and happens. Okay? Okay? Yes, Dani.
But this has nothing to do with obsession. This can be one time randomly, or it could be even a good spirit.
Possessed is not used in the sense of a good spirit. A good spirit would not possess. It could be a spirit that is not evil per se, and now we'll talk about it in a little bit. It could be an evil spirit, which is most of the cases, trying to cause harm to others and using or to the one that they are possessing. It is most of the times an obsession, but also not always. And it's never done by a good spirit.
But it could be okay. So it's mainly related to obsession because it can be coming from a relationship, a prior relationship, right? But it could be just one-time thing.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it could, and we when we talk in a couple of questions, I'm going to tell you why. Okay. Because I want to read a couple of questions before I tell you why, because Kardec had some more information about this in Genesis and in the Spiritist Review. Okay, but it combines with 475, so I'll wait there. Okay. Okay.
474. If there is no such thing as possession or the cohabitation of two spirits in the same body, is it possible for one soul to be overpowered by another so that it sees itself subjugated or obsessed to the point of having its will somehow paralyzed? Yes, and it is this domination that constitutes what we call possession. You must understand that this domination is never established without the willing participation of the spirit who subjects to it, either due to its weakness or by its desire. People often have misidentified cases of epilepsy or insanity for possession when they really need a physician rather than an exorcist. The word possession, as popularly understood, presumes the existence and cohabitation of demons. That is, a category of beings of a wicked nature, with a person's soul in his or her body. Since demons do not exist in the aforementioned sense, and since two spirits cannot simultaneously inhabit the same body, there is no such thing as possession according to the idea normally attached to this word. You should understand the word possessed, defined only as the absolute domination of a soul by an imperfect spirit to whom it has surrendered.
So, possession, for us to understand here the definition of possession as was used before Kardec, and as it's used until today by especially by the Catholic Church, is when the demon, the devil, takes over your body. And you remember, all the ones that are old enough remember the movie The Exorcist, right? That's a case of possession, right? The devil took over the body of the young girl and replaced the young girl. That's the definition of possession according to what it's known out there. And the spirits first, they tell Kardec that the domination is never established without the willing participation of the spirit who subjects to it. So it's always, like Julio used to say, a shaking of hands, right? There won't be any possession or domination without an agreement between the two spirits, either by weakness or by its desire. And the spirit says sometimes you think what people think is possession is really cases of epilepsy or insanity, and that should be treated by the medical field. The Kardec gives the explanation of the word possession, saying that the cohabitation of demons, the existence and cohabitation of demons, or a category of beings of a weak nature, it's not possible since demons do not exist, and it's not possible to inhabit the same body. So there is no such thing as possession, according to the idea normally attached to the word. Now, Kardec later, and he entered into this, he said that there is only obsession, fascination, and I forgot the third now.
Subjugation.
Sorry? Subjugation, yes. That's what Kardec discusses in the Spirit's book, in the Medium's book, and even in Genesis. But then in the Spiritist Review of 1862, I think, he faces a case of what he calls possession in its sense of a perispirit of a spirit replacing, not completely, the perispirit of a lady, a medium. Okay, so he was in a medium mystic session, and this guy started to manifest himself, and through his manifestation, he was describing that he took over the body of the medium, and he started his mannerisms and his way of behaving were the ones that he had when he was alive. And that's what the case of Daniela that I said. He wasn't a bad spirit, but he wasn't a good spirit. He was just someone that loved life without causing any harm to anyone, but taking advantage of life for himself. He discarnated, and he was giving a communication. He was a friend of one of the persons in the meeting, and he was the person in the meeting was describing his mannerisms, or the medium mannerisms, as exactly like he was. You know, the way he was sitting, or the medium was sitting, the way that he was playing with his mustache that the medium didn't have, like he had one. So in that sense, and Kardec started to ask questions. Where is the medium? And he says, she's here by my side. She's laughing at your reaction to my behavior. So in that sense, Kardec says, so he understands that the possession in the sense of a perispirit replacing another one, not completely because the medium perispirit was still attached, but it was possible. So he changed his idea on the word possession. Here, he doesn't, in this, in the spirit's book and in the medium's book, he still talks about possession that does not exist. And again, it's not that it doesn't exist in the sense of a spirit replacing other in a physical body. In that sense, it doesn't exist. But the possibility of a spirit taking over the body of another spirit temporarily with the other spirit agreement, but of course with the other spirit, incarnated spirit, still connected to the physical body, otherwise the physical body would die. It is possible, okay? Sorry, I thought it was a little bit confusing here, but I hope you understood what I meant. I don't know, Elmo, if you have something to add here.
No, but I mentioned that these very, very, very extreme situations. In general, what happens in subjugation is that the aggressor spirit imposes its will so strongly on the incarnated spirit that it's irresistible, and the spirit will act as if it is in control of that physical body, because in reality, it's in control of the will of the spirit that has that body.
Yes, exactly.
And can never come from a higher spirit. It's always a suffering, ignorant spirit.
Yes, or a middling spirit, as Kardec says there in the Spiritist Review, which is a spirit that doesn't want to cause harm. It's just there for fun. But it's not a good spirit, definitely. Danny.
So this would be the examples for people who are not in a mediumship session or who are not necessarily ostensive mediums. It could be to anybody, but in a mediumship meeting, like we do Mondays in the center, it is basically what happens. Like it's more,
No.
it's like intensified, like in a way that the medium let the spirit express itself physically. The voice might change, the tone, not as a possession, but or almost as if the medium, depending on how it was not much of my case, but some mediums would be really be stepping aside to let the spirit communicate, as in the example you were giving here with the mediumship example you gave here.
To answer that, Elmo?
Yeah, but in a mediumship, the medium is always in control of that body and should be, and is in control of the whole situation as much as it gives permission to that spirit to use his physical body in that interaction perispirit to perispirit. The medium is still in absolute control and can stop it and should be able to stop it at its own will. It will never surrender its will to the will of another spirit. So it's a very, let's say, controlled situation. In the case of subjugation, there is the incarnate spirit has lost control of the situation. It's a chaotic situation.
Yeah. Okay.
And very important that this degree of subjugation of thing is it's not for only for mediums, it's for any one of us. Mediums could undergo this high level of obsession, and anyone else, medium or non-medium.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, yeah. It's sort of like the same, kind of the same situation in a way that the spirit is in charge, but in the case of the spirit, the mediumship meeting, the medium, you can say, okay, it's enough, you know, it's not totally, or it's not completely being controlled. It's actually allowing the spirits to communicate, and then that's it. Got it.
Yeah, if you go back to the movie The Exorcist, right? It's a Hollywood, but she is possessed in the sense that you know, Kardec later accepts, but she's still connected to the physical body. She has almost no free will there. She cannot get rid of the evil spirit that is took over her physical body. Almost, because you can always change, right? But when they expel the spirit in the movie, she goes back to be herself, right? Because if the spirit, if it had replaced, she would have died, right? Sometimes the connection is so strong, and it becomes so strong, the connection, that to separate can cause the death of the spirit that is the incarnated spirit. It happened with one of the sons of Bezerra de Menezes, right? He was obsessed and in a process of subjugation, and Bezerra de Menezes was treating him, and the spirit, when the spirit was finally convinced to leave, the spirit said, but if I disconnect from him, he was going to die. And Bezerra de Menezes said that if this is what's going to happen, then so be it. It's important for, you know, both of you to be free. And his son died.
But in that case, if
it was a subjugation.
But in that case, for example, if the son had died under the subjugation still, they would be together on the spiritual world for sure. So
yes, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's the objective of these spirits that want to cause the death of the physical body, so they can take full control of the spirit in the spiritual world, the incarnated spirit. So they can cause even more pain and harm. Because again, remember that the physical body give us some distractions of the suffering, right? When you are in the spiritual world, if you are completely subjugated, influenced by another spirit, there is very little you can do if you don't recognize and ask for help and all these things that we discuss.
But in this case, why did he die? Like, because he was too dependent on the
energies. Yeah, the energies were so strongly connected between the two that when he lost the energies of the obsessing spirit that had been with him for many years, right? It's not something that came suddenly. His physical body could not survive. Again, I don't know the medical issue and deeper, because it happened in the beginning of the end of the 19th century, so we don't really have resources to analyze. We can only report what we read, right? I don't know if you have any further information on that, Elmo. I don't think so, right?
No, what I think is a great question. I have an answer. The codependence of the energy of the true spirit are so strong that they almost had a symbiotic relationship, like they were codependent of one another. Once one was gone, the other one could not survive. But how does it act on the physical body that caused the death of the physical body is a great question. I don't have an answer. I don't know if anybody does.
Bezerra does, but
Yeah.
we haven't learned yet.
Yeah.
Hey, João.
Okay. Yes, Renato.
Got a question on the part of the question of cohabitation of the two spirits. And I understood that is not possible, but just give me some latitude here. So science pretty much, they have different takes where they consider as a body the fetus, sometimes 9 weeks, 5 weeks, 10 weeks, whatever. But in the book Between Heaven and Earth, there is a part where the mentor describes where the perispirit of the child, the mother embrace the perispirit of the child, and the way that he described, it's kind of this perispirit of the child is blending into her in a sense that they look like they become like one. We know that it's not one, but it's like they become one. So at that moment, there's no, it's just a fetus. So does the Spiritism consider that as a body as well and two separate entities, or it's kind of I have no idea what would be the answer for that. That is not a cohabitation of two perispirits in one body.
No, that's not. But the pregnancy, the spirit is connected to the new physical body at the moment of conception, right? According to Spiritism. So there is a spirit connected to the fertilized embryo in the even some we're not going to discuss outside the physical body, but when the woman gets pregnant, there is a spirit connected there, and that spirit, it has its own perispirit that temporarily is losing its form to become the form of the new physical body that's being formed, that lives inside the mother's physical body, and the two perispirits can be strongly connected in the sense that if they are two loving spirits that are happy to be reunited, you can think of a very close union, but it's two perispirits, two spirits, and they are not inhabiting the same body. They are two separate physical bodies, one inside the other, if that's what was the question.
Thank you.
Yes. Two spirits, two perispirits, two physical bodies. One already formed, another one in the process of being formed, but already an organism, independent. It's fully dependent of the mother, but it's two different bodies, basically.
Thanks, Elmo.
Okay.
475. Can a soul drive degraded spirits away and free itself from their control? You can always rid yourself of any burden if you are resolutely determined to do so.
Quick question, quick answer. We can always free ourselves from these obsessing spirits if we really want it. Do we have the strength? Sometimes we don't have the strength to do by ourselves, but we always have the strength to pray and ask for help. And if we are sincerely looking for help, help will come. Help will be provided to us. So in that way, combining our own will associated with the assistance of the spirits, because sometimes the burden is too much for us to get rid by ourselves. We need help. we always need help, right? And but the spirits will be there to help us to all to whatever we need. Again, normally the connections between just these two spirits is so strong in terms of their past that there is a difficulty in separating those two because of the connections they're carrying. There is one case in the book, In the Domains of Mediumship, where this lady goes to the Spirit Center to be treated. She has an obsessor, and they go there and separate her from the obsessor and free her. She goes home, she goes to sleep. Immediately when she falls asleep, the first thing she does when she leaves her physical body is go directly to try to find him again, to reconnect with him, the obsessor. So that's the clearest example that we have that why the obsessions are difficult to disconnect, because it's a two-way street, and you need the one that is obsessed, which is, you know, we can say it's a temporary victim, because it's never a victim. Complete victim is always responsible for what's happening to them. But you need to fully want to be to rescue yourself. Otherwise, the spirits cannot do by themselves. And we'll see in 2 questions down. We have the exorcism, and we'll talk about why it doesn't work. Okay.
476. Could the allure of a wicked spirit be so complete that the victim is unaware of it? In such a case, could a third party end the overpowering? If so, what condition should the person fulfill? The willpower of a moral individual may be useful by attracting the cooperation of good spirits. The more honest a person is, the more power that person has to drive away imperfect spirits and attract good ones. Nevertheless, this third person would be helpless in such a case if the one who is subjugated were open to the efforts.
Not open. Not open. Sorry,
not open.
There is a missing word there. Yes.
Not open to the efforts made on his or her behalf. Some individuals delight in dependence that flatters their tastes and desires. Impure individuals at heart cannot exercise any liberating influence because they are ignored by good spirits, and bad ones do not fear them.
Yeah, the translation has a wrong word there, despised. The original is not despised, it's ignored, or ignored is the best word there. Okay. So again, it's what we discussed, the willpower of a moral individual may be useful by attracting the cooperation of good spirits. If we are willing to be helped, we sincerely want to be helped, help is always available. And the more we are willing to allow ourselves to be helped, the more we have the ability to drive away these obsessions, because we will have the assistance of our guardian angel and all good spirits that are able to help us. But again, you know, we know that some people like to live independence of others. We have this in incarnated people, so we will have in discarnated, incarnated to incarnated. So we have incarnated to discarnated, right? There are some people that cannot live without someone else. Complete dependence. They're, as they say, they flatters their tastes and desires. So the good spirits cannot help those that don't want to be helped, like we cannot help those here that do not want to be helped. Bad spirits do not fear them in the sense that they will be there because they know that they have more power, more influence over those that are trying to help. Because if you listen to the devil on your left ear, you know, the angel on your right ear may want to help you, but if you don't listen to the angel cannot give you any help. Okay.
477. Do exorcisms have any power over bad spirits? No. When bad spirits see someone seriously trying to cast them out by such means, they laugh and persist in their efforts.
Yeah. Again, exorcism, which is to try to rid someone from a spirit that is obsessing, possessing, subjugating, it can only work if you treat both. The bad spirit needs to receive treatment and assistance also, so it can move away from the desire to cause harm. And the one that is being harmed also needs to have the sincere will to change. So exorcism, in the way it's done by the church, it can temporarily separate the spirit, the incarnated spirit, from the obsessor or the subjugator, but it will be only a temporary solution if those two individuals do not change the reasons that made the connection happen in the first place. So to use what the church uses, the cross or garlic or things like that, only makes the spirits laugh, because material things have no influence on these evil spirits. And to talk to them in the name of Jesus or in the name of God, it's very unlikely to cause any changes, and maybe they will laugh and persist in their efforts, as they say here. So what really works is the treatment of both individuals, incarnated and discarnated. Okay.
478.
Yep.
Well-intentioned individuals are sometimes obsessed. What is the best way to free oneself from obsessing spirits? To tire their patience and ignore their suggestions. Show them that they are wasting their time. They go away when they see that their efforts are fruitless.
Again, we can compare it to us incarnated, right? Someone tries to convince us to do something that we are never going to do it. It's just a matter of us telling them, no, there's no way I'm going to do that. That's not me. You can talk to the what's the expression? The cows come home, or something like that. That I'm not going to change my mind. So it's the same thing with spirits. If we ignore their suggestions, we show them they're wasting our time, we don't heed to their influence, they'll go away, because, you know, if it's a personal case, they'll try other avenues. If it's not personal, they'll try with someone else that is more susceptible to their influence. So again, simple obsession, and here when he talks about well-intentioned individuals, we can talk about simple obsessions. If we change our vibrational level, the spirits will go away. They won't be able to connect to us. And that's what we always say on those going for treatments on the Spiritist Center, right? The obsessors stay outside, but if you leave the Spiritist Center and you lower your vibration, they find you again and reconnect with you. So that's why we always say, keep your connections elevated, your vibrations elevated, so they don't find you when you leave, because they connect to us through vibrations. Okay.
479. Is prayer an effective means of ending obsession? Prayer is always an effective means of obtaining help, but you must remember that reciting a few choice words is not enough to get what you want. God helps those who help themselves, but not those who limit themselves to only asking for help. Obsessed persons must do their utmost to cure themselves of the flaws that attract bad spirits to them.
Okay, so yes, prayer is the first resource that we should use to help to obtaining help. But again, sincere prayer that comes from our hearts, not repeating words that we know by heart, because words without the sentiment, they're not enough. Words without the sincerity behind them are useless. God help those who help themselves. Again, incarnated, discarnated. But if we are only asking for help, and we're not doing anything, then, how can we complain? We need to do our part, and that's what we always say here in our studies and spiritism. If we do our part, we have every spirit available to help and assist us. But without us making any effort, they cannot carry us. They cannot do the work for us, the work we are supposed to do. So we need to do our part, and if we do our part, there is a legion of spirits ready to help and assist us. Okay.
480.
Hey, João,
Yes.
can you explain one more time the difference between obsession and possession?
Obsession is the influence of a spirit on another. That can be there can be a simple obsession, a more serious one, which is fascination, and a complete one that is subjugation. There is always an influence to cause harm to other. Possession is, in a way, a subjugation where a spirit takes over, not completely because it doesn't replace, the body of an incarnated person and makes the person acts as it is the one that is the one that is possessing it. You have the mannerisms, you have the could change the voice, the expressions, so it acts like he used to act when he was alive. The obsession, the simple obsession, is much more subtle, right? And the fascination is the most dangerous one, because the person acts like nothing is happening, and the process is very difficult to treat. The subjugation causes much influence on the individual, the physical body of the individual. So it's more clear that the individual needs treatment, and more easy to provide treatment, because fascination, the individual never wants any help, so it's difficult to provide assistance. Elmo, anything to add here?
Yeah, I think personally that we should avoid the word possession. I read their article, I understand it, what Kardec meant by that. But this is one very rare and specific case in which, as the Spirit tells, the true owner of this body is right next to over here, just watching everything and actually laughing. So it was almost like back the mission, and that spirit was, just as in the case of the mediumship, was aware of it, the communication, and that spirit took over again its body and continued living its life. An obsession is a pre-established relationship, is a problem between two spirits. It's a relationship. that needs to be resolved. So I would rather not use the word possession to avoid misusing it when the right word would be subjugation.
I agree, Elmo. I agree.
Okay, thank you.
But, you know, because I thought it was important to bring that Kardec changed his mind on the word possession. And but I agree with you. I think it's if we stay with simple obsession, fascination, subjugation, we are going to cover 99% of the cases.
Right, but and I also agree that you have to explain why did Kardec use the term possession in that specific case, and make sense the way that he explained it.
Okay, last one, Philip.
480. What should we think of the instruction to cast out devils as mentioned in the Gospels? That depends on the meaning you attach to the word devil. If you mean a bad spirit who overpowers a human being, it is obvious that it will be driven away when the person being obsessed destroys its influence. If you attribute an illness to the devil, you may say that you have driven the devil away when you have healed your sickness. A statement may be true or false, depending on the meaning attributed to certain words. The most important truths may seem ridiculous when you only consider them in the form in which they are presented, and when a metaphor is taken literally. Understand this well and remember it, for it is of general application.
I think when the Gospels talk about casting out devils or demons, if we replace the word by bad spirits, evil spirits, inferior spirits, it would be easier for us in Spiritism to understand it and to fully understand the whole concept, right? When you are under the influence of an evil spirit, obsessed by an evil spirit, the ways to treat and the ways to get rid of this obsession, like Spiritism teaches us. So, of course, we see many mentions in the Gospels to devil or demons, and we understand in Spiritism we are way beyond that concept, right? We understand that they do not exist, that we are all created equal, and we are all going to reach perfection. And there are spirits that temporarily are of an evil nature, are inferior spirits that are of an evil nature and willing to cause harm to others. But this is a temporary situation that will eventually end. And so the word here, cast out devils, should be in Spiritism to treat inferior spirits and to help and assist inferior spirits. Okay. Okay, 7:30. We need to stop here. Any final questions? Okay, we'll see convulsionaries next week. So for those that were not here last week or Sunday, a reminder that in 2 weeks' time, we are making some changes on our studies on Thursdays. So the Spirits book, we are going to start at 7 p.m. and it's going to be from 7 to 8. We will be, I will be at the center. So if you want to study live at the center with us, you can go there. We have fraternal assistance from 6 to 7, and we have passes after the study. If you are coming through Zoom, the only thing that changes is the time. From 6:30 to 7, we will start at 7. And the Medium's book, the study of the Medium's book, will go to the 3rd Sunday of the month. So we are going to have Liberation on the 1st Sunday, the Gospel on the 2nd Sunday, the Medium's book on the 3rd Sunday, Q&A on the last Sunday of the month. Except May, that have 5 Sundays. So in the 5th Sunday of May, our friend Renato is going to give a presentation to us that I don't know if you have the title already, Renato, but you'll tell us later. Book club, next week we are going to discuss chapter 1 of part 2. It's called The Death of Flaminius. That's on Wednesday at 7 p.m. And this Sunday we'll be studying, we'll have the Q&A. So bring your questions. And this Saturday, we are going to have a lecture by Ana Moreno, Searching for the Meaning of Life, this Saturday at 11 a.m. Okay? Carol, can you do our final prayer?
Sure. Infinite Creator and Supreme Intelligence, we are grateful this evening to be together for our studies of the Spirits book, Chapter 9, which covers the covert influences of spirits on our thoughts and actions, as well as the title, The Possessed. We are grateful for our studies this evening that we can share together, that we become more enlightened in these areas of topics. Those spirits, the spirits who may be negative or bad spirits who can influence us, but we have the control to not to be influenced so strongly by anything, anyone, or dominated anything or by anyone. We pray that we keep our vibrations strong, we keep our hearts and minds open to receive the good spirits and their help along the way. We ask, as well as the actions that we provide, that we are trying to work out the issues at hand. We are grateful to our spiritual benefactors, the good spirits, the helpers, the healers, the guides, the teachers who are with us during our meetings and throughout the week, for we are never alone as we remain steady, even-minded, and we go forward as a community, as well as with our families, our friends, and with our loved ones. We give thanks for what we have learned this evening and the many blessings that we also have incurred. May we receive the love, light, and peace of Christ within, helping us to remain strong, to remain vigilant, and to help us to remain in a charitable framework always. We are grateful and we humbly ask now for the safety and protection as we return to family, friends, loved ones, and coworkers. We close humbly and ask that we remind ourselves to be beacons of light. We go forth now in gratitude and peace, praying for those in the world who are suffering, as well as the suffering spirits who need our prayers. Go forth now, so be it.